All right. So the pros and cons of manual software testing. So pros of manual testing, right? Get fast and accurate visual feedback, right? So as you are implementing or executing the test manually, you are getting your feedback immediately, right? Then it is less expensive as you don't need to spend your budget for automation tools and processes, right? So of course, we all know even out there in the market, it's cheaper to actually hire a manual tester than to hire an automated tester, and also pay for the different automation tools that you need to actually build or that you need to build your application, right? So it's actually the budget is actually less. So it's budget friendly in the short run, but it's not budget friendly in the long run. All right. The human judgment and intuition always benefits the manual elements. Okay, because of, like I said, it's a test that you execute and you get your feedback immediately, your visual feedback immediately. So you are testing for user experience, you are testing for the user interface to make sure that the user interface, a click of a button is actually functioning properly. The button is placed where it's supposed to be according to the design screen. That the feature is also very easy to use. So a user can easily log onto the feature and be able to locate and be able to easily locate or pinpoint a feature when necessary, right? Then, why testing a small change? An automation test would require coding, which would be time consuming, okay? Why you could just test it manually on a fly, all right? So in this case, for example, maybe I added, I have, I have a sign up, I have a sign up feature, right? That has some input field where you just input your details and then sign up. Then if you're writing an automation test, you would write an automation test that will input or test for those different input fields and clicking of a button and how that would actually respond in the backend, right? Then but for manual tests, you would manually do this. So if you add additional input field there, for manual tests, it doesn't take you anything extra to test that input field. But for automation tests, it will require you to actually modify your code to accommodate the extra input field that was added. Okay. Then, but the cons of manual testing, it's less reliable testing method because it's conducted by a human. Like I, because of course, human effort is there. There are rooms for bias, right? Like I mentioned earlier, there are features that a manual tester would test, and the tester would feel that that is a bug and report it as a bug. Meanwhile, the developer would say it's actually not a bug. That's how the functionality would be, and that back and forth will be there, right? Then, so therefore, it is always prone to mistakes and errors. And also, manual tester can actually test an application and may not thoroughly test a particular functionality. Meanwhile, so another tester might come and test that functionality thoroughly and then discover a bug. The manual testing process can't be recorded, so it's not possible to reuse the manual tests, right? So whatever test that is being executed by a manual software tester, of course, in the test results, or in the test in the test cases result, it will mark as pass if it's passed. But we can always want to verify it again by going back and testing it manually again to make sure that it's passed or not, right? In manual testing method, certain tasks are difficult to perform manually, which may require an additional time of the software testing phase, right? So we mentioned that earlier on, things like load testing, no, regression test shouldn't be there. Should be load testing, stress testing, spike testing, right? Okay. Then for automated testing, the pros and the cons. Automated testing helps you to find more bug compared to a human tester, right? Because of the test will be run automatically. So it will test what you have written, code you have written against the requirements. Okay. Now, as most of the part of the testing process is automated, you can have a speedy and efficient process. So the only time it will consume you is the time that you are writing the script. Once you are done writing the script, that script will run forever, unless maybe there is a change or modification in your code that will require you to also modify your test script. Okay. Automation process can be recorded. This allows you to reuse and execute the same kind of testing operations, right? The automated testing is conducted using software tools. So it works without tiring and fatigue, unlike human and manual testing. I say the test, your script can run forever without, it can run forever. You can use it for as long as the feature did not change, or right, or your code is not modified. Automated testing supports various applications. Then testing coverage can be increased because of automation testing tools. Because automation testing tools never forget to check even the smallest units. Okay, so with automation tests, you can increase your test coverage. It can go as high as even 99% test coverage. That means it will touch every bit and part of your code. Why the cons of automated tests? Without human elements, it's difficult to get insight into visual aspects of your UI, like colors, font size, constructs, or button size, right? So that is where so without human effort in automated tests, it wouldn't actually look into all these different aspects of your code, right? Then the tools to run automation testing can be expensive, which may increase the cost of the testing project. Yes, of course. So in the short run, it's way more expensive, but it's in the long run, it's way cheaper. Okay. So automation testing tools is not yet foolproof. Even automation tools has their limitation, which reduces the scope of automation. Okay. Like we say, it has a limitation. It cannot test visual aspects of your code. All right. Debugging the test script is another major issue in automated testing, right? Test maintenance is costly. So debugging your test script, you can implement a test script, and you might actually and for no reason, it's possible to also introduce a bug in your test script. Yes. Or there are situations where a new tester would join your team and would want to modify your test script due to the code, or due to your code has been modified. That tester might also introduce bug in your test script. And if there is bug in your test script, it will be very difficult to actually pinpoint that bug, because that script is actually the test that is supposed to pinpoint bugs in your code. So it will require manual effort to actually go through your script line by line to know where that bug is located. Okay. All right. So the key difference between automation testing and manual testing. All right. Then manual testing is done manually by QA analysts or software testers, humans, whereas automation testing is done with the use of scripts, code, and automation tools by a tester. All right. So manual testing is done by QA guys, or software tester, or manual software tester, right? Automation testing is done by use of scripts. Of course, the script will be written by either the developer or software testers in test. But the main thing is that script, once the script has been written, it doesn't require any human efforts any longer. It will run as per when you want it to run. Then manual testing process is not accurate because of the possibility of human errors, whereas automation process is reliable because it is code and script based, right? Then manual testing is a time-consuming process, whereas automation testing is very fast. Manual testing is possible without programming knowledge, whereas automation test is not totally possible without programming knowledge.
Sorry,
Okay, sorry. Someone wanted to ask.
I raised my hand initially.
All right.
Uh,
Sorry, I see it.
yeah, sorry for just butting in.
No problem.
Yeah,
Go on.
you're talking about this manual testing and automation testing. Someone asked a question that if the manual testing has all of these problems, so why
Mm,
learn the manual testing? But you see, uh, I don't know, probably you might have to throw some more lights, so that a lot of other persons can also understand. Because I was meant to understand that manual testing is why manual testing has not been done away with is because of its level of precision and accuracy. Because automation testing might be faster and might have larger coverage, but like you've rightly highlighted, there are a lot of things on the UI and there are a lot of things like the bugging issues and all that cannot be done. And that's why manual testing is still retained.
mm.
And he talked about bias. One of the problems with testing is, developers can also test.
Yeah, of course.
So now, one of the reasons why testers in every project is always difficult for you to have a project without having a tester there is because they actually need people to test, you know, independently from the developer.
Mhm.
You understand? Now, the 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 tester needs to have some level of difference, must think differently, uh, you know, unbiasedly. You understand? Has to hit it, look at the job, test it the way it's supposed to test without thinking of whether anybody is affected by that result or whatever, and give an accurate decision. So that's why I'm trying to find out from you, because from what you've said now, you've put a lot of disadvantages as against what I think is the advantages of a manual test as compared to automation. Because automation, like you said, it encourages repetition. At once a code is written, script implemented, and all that, you can run it in as much as functionality has not changed. You get what I mean? And it's faster, coverage is much. But there are a lot of other things that has to do with product testing of a product that's being built, that the manual tester or the manual testing approach has higher advantages than the automation. That's why most times they always require people to test manually, even if they will still eventually test using this automation approach. So I want you to throw more light.
Okay. Thank you very much, Inyabon. So if what I think we have actually talked about this, right? So you may feel that manual testing has a lot of disadvantage. You may feel that way, but of course, it may have disadvantage because of its manual software testing, but it also have its advantages. We have talked about that severally. The first one is the ability for you to test manually. It's only in manual testing that you can actually test the UI and the UX. We've talked about that. That alone is a very, very, that alone is a very huge advantage. As a matter of fact, testing for UI and UX is the major reason. It's the major reason why that is major reason why we cannot do away with manual software testing. Majorly, right? Every other kind, every other thing, or every other aspect of testing can be covered with automation, right? But user experience and the user interface of the application can never be covered by automation. At least not now. At least not until now. Because for you to actually look into user interface and user experience testing, it has to be done by a human, right? So when we start looking into user acceptance test, we'll talk more of that. So user acceptance tests look into testing the application from the user's perspective, right? So you are testing the application as a user.